Coming this week, only on Patreon. But it's funny because the way he said it, it was almost like if someone who goes, "Yeah, I'm a narcissist, deal with it," not trying in the slightest to
Mm-mm.
A, couch it, or B, fix it.
Well, I'm tending to believe, like I've said for a while now, that he listens to the Bob D episodes
Oh yeah.
that we do on him and that he's feeding off of that. That's a supply for him.
Oh yes.
And it might even supplement what he's doing with his psychiatrist if he is still going and talking to him, if
Which
that's
is
a truth.
which is
And
dubious, yeah.
hearing us talk about his mother and his infatuation with her and his Oedipus complex, all those things I think are feeding him, but nothing is stopping his anger at getting older.
Yeah.
Because when he takes that wig off and he looks at his bald head and his gray beard and pubes and his like Marfan
Ew.
body just hunched with the scoliosis back. I mean, and never having 1 ounce of muscle on him, the true
No.
veal. He and his teeth are getting bad, his eyesight's getting bad, his hearing's getting bad. Everything is going.
Yeah.
And the longer he sits holed up in his house, not doing anything, not having interactions, Bob said it, you said it, it's just going to get worse. So
Yeah.
I believe his anger at aging. I believe
Yeah.
it about the narcissism, that it's just he suffers the most because narcissists suffer the most, and
Yeah.
he's the queen of narcissism. So it's just all about him, and
Hmm.
like we say all the time, and that's what this is. It's how he opens the show is him talking about, he's the victim. Same with
Yeah.
most recently where his mom's sick, and every
Oh,
day first 20 minutes, maybe 30, are him saying about how he's doing so much with the doctors for his mom. But
yeah.
meanwhile, if anything, at best, he's on a phone in Palm Beach in an $8,000, 8,000 square foot mansion, having Ellen help out, having his daughter Ashley help out. And
Yep.
then he's got about 10 to 12 doctors and nurses and specialists that he's calling on to help too. But he's not lifting a finger. He's not even
No.
rushing home because he admitted this week he was in Florida because Ben Stiller was like, I'm really curious about the Florida life and living down there, and maybe you'll have me sometime. And he's like, you can come down here, which
Here.
meant 79 goofed and was like, yeah, you could come down where I'm at right now in Florida.
Right.
So there's
Well,
our proof.
and I bet you credits to Navy Beans that Ashley and Ellen calling him would only be about, can we do this because it's going to cost this much,
Right.
and asking him about, can we do this, like getting the approval before,
Mm-hmm.
and that's it. Because a guy like him, the only thing that he hasn't done is tell you exactly how much it's going to cost to help Ray with the doctors and stuff. And we don't know what the story is, but the impression that we've been getting for the last while is Ben has had strokes, or
Yes.
he's
Plural.
had dementia, and usually one stroke follows the other. I mean, once you start getting them, and especially at that age, one will follow the next. And the nature of strokes, they could affect you so many ways. My maternal grandmother, she had a stroke that impaired her speaking. She couldn't talk anymore, and
Right.
she could do everything else, but that was such a brutal thing because she was a great conversationalist. She was funny and stuff, and that was the beginning of the end for her. Yep.
Wiggs even said that his dad doesn't say much,
Yeah.
that he might mutter a few words like, where's like I can't, I'm not doing the impression, but
Right.
he might mumble about, where's Ray or what's going on or where,
Yeah. Yeah.
but otherwise he doesn't really talk too much, and he may not be able to talk at all. He
Yeah.
has round the clock nurses for help in the shower, for feedings and meds
Yeah.
and all that. I
Yeah.
mean, I can only imagine how bad the level of quality of life has gotten for him.
Yeah.
And, for Ray, who knows? She's the mother narcissist. So for her to be out of the room for a few days and then brought back, allegedly,
Hmm.
could only mean, she wanted some extra attention.
Maybe.
Something might have really been wrong. Maybe she got COVID, who knows? But apparently she's back with Ben in their apartment room that has, you know, people, nurses, attendants round the
Yeah.
clock to care for them.
Yep.
Maybe even someone living with them constantly, who knows? just
But
to make
yeah,
sure that they're not up and walking around on their own without assistance. Because I
yeah,
know some people that once they get put in homes, they try to do stuff on their own and it goes badly quickly.
ooh, yeah, big
So you
time.
got to watch them because they're stubborn. They just don't want the help, but they need it and they won't
Yeah.
admit it. So who knows?
Or they don't realize they need it, and they go ahead thinking they're all right, not understanding the full extent of what their limitations now are. So anyway, poor Ben. Ray, poor her, I suppose, to have to deal with Howard on any
Well,
level, but I don't know,
that's
maybe Ray's the demon, and she also doesn't I mean, we're going to be doing another Wiggy Dearest soon with Bob D. We have way more clips than we know what to do with. And I mean, I believe there's some truth to it. I believe that, that she is responsible for a lot of what made Howard into whatever. But again, you don't exonerate him from his own assholish behavior just because of Ray's whatever, because that's what you get beyond. You try to get beyond it as an adult and deal with it. He's never been had to be accountable for anything. Even this, like, all of a sudden the I never said the N-word stuff is coming back on him, and the blackface stuff is starting to come back a little bit, but he's
yep.
never really going to have to um make amends for it, or he's never going to own up to it, so it's kind of pointless in a way.
Right. He's protected. And the thing about talking about the parents and his mom right off the bat with the show and how he resents her for taking up his time and his golden years and his money.
Yeah,
These are the
money too.
things he bitches about, okay? While Rob Zombie is playing, while he's the victim.
Yeah,
And this is a comedy show, and the first thing we hear is how tired he is from spending his whole 5-day weekend after President's Day with doctors
yeah.
24/7. 24/7
Wow.
from a man who watches 16 hours of TV a day.
Yep.
I just it's infuriating, and that's your comedy show when you turn
Yep.
it on at 7 a.m.
Yep.
So,
A different kind of bitching from the classic days when eventually they get into some movies or TV reviews and that kind of thing. And what did you do? And so went to wherever, and you had the Howard TV crew, and this one went to a Comic Con, or this one went to a film festival or something like that. I mean, just a vast difference of dead air, mostly
right. I
complaining and bitching, shitty impressions, fake phone calls,
oh,
and gay and scat stuff. Again, guys, we're not doing any scat stuff, and there is some stuff in here that's a little uh questionable, but not to the extent you're going to get disgusted at all.
no, I've
No.
stopped that. Trust me.
Yeah. Yeah.
People who are
Uh,
narcissists have the hardest time
Yep,
getting
that
old
really
because
is.
we want perfection. And it set me off. I was looking at a picture of me from about 15 years ago. I think Beth took it. I just finished running, and I was in my running shorts. I had my shirt off. My feet were up on my desk, and so
53.
all I had on was
Yeah. And he was just as disgusting looking at 53 as he is, like, maybe a little less, but still awful.
Right.
You know,
Oh,
if it's -10 or -3, you're still not getting close to a whole whole number.
my short shorts, my running short shorts, and
And your
short
feet
all
were
of,
Yeah.
on the desk?
yeah, and so all you could see my entire body except for my penile
oh,
area. And
nice.
I was looking at myself, and I go, man, I look good. I had the abs. I had it going on, and
The
False.
abs. I was just looking at the Private Parts book cover. Okay, and
Oh,
this is
right. Yeah.
and and then someone cut out. They zoomed in and they cut out just the head. And I looked at it really carefully. The problem is his face color and his body color doesn't match. And if you look at the original photo, he's wearing this kind of like it's not a choker, but it's like one of those like leather chains. It's not a chain, but it's made of leather. And then
Right.
that's what the Photoshop artist used as a delineation to put on the new body.
Yes.
And because and I've seen one of the tricks. There's this one show I remember my wife was watching. It was about a cheerleader, like a reporter who was in decent shape, trying to make it as like a Dallas Cowboys cheerleader or something, and she was going to do a tryout. And they said she was thin, but you couldn't see her. She didn't have a six pack, so they actually had this like almost like a roll on thing, and they would draw the illusion of having six, like the and I found that fascinating. I didn't even know such a thing existed. And
Yep.
If it is him, which I don't believe, I believe the body was photoshopped. I believe he's since said on the show that was a model. He got fed up with it and he just didn't want to be. If I didn't work out enough, so I would have. If I known it was going to be that kind of thing, I would have worked out harder. So,
Yeah.
and the movie one is obviously photoshopped, but the book one I believe is photoshopped as well.